Jimmy Fallon can't help but admire BTS's Jin. But why did his comments actually provoke great jealousy? What happened in the Empire State Building inflamed fans of other artists. Did Fallon's praise actually cross the line? It's not just a sweet moment. It's an unexpected emotional outburst. Can praise turn into bullets? And can sincere love burn the deepest jealousy? That night, the New York sky wasn't just emitting light. It was harboring whispers and turmoil, question marks, and hot whispers that spread faster than the glare of light from the top of the Empire State Building. BTS's Jin, a man who has long hidden his innermost side behind a calm smile, suddenly stands on top of the world. But as glowing blue, pink, yellow, and white lights danced for him, a comment from an American entertainment icon rocked the internet more than a camera flash. Jimmy Fallon praised the genie all out on The Tonight Show, but was it really just a casual compliment? When Jins stepped on the small stage of the Empire State Building and performed the song, "Don't Say You Love Me," in a voice that seemed to come from the deepest heartbreak, the world fell silent. Jimmy Fallon is not. He's talking. He talks too much, some people say. Jin is the icon of this generation. No one can touch his class, not even from America. The sentence was not just applause. It was like fuel thrown into a blaze of fandom that never really calmed down. What does Jimmy Fallon mean? Why did he say that no American artist could match Jin? Is this just a spontaneous expression of a TV host? Or there is a hidden meaning behind the sounding praise? Too perfect, May 21st, 2025, a date that at first seems like a simple celebration. Jin, the lead vocalist of BTS, known for his loving yet mysterious personality, was present at the top of the Empire State Building to celebrate the release of his second solo album, Echo. The legendary skyscraper was chosen not just for its grandeur, but for its symbolism, a sound that resonates back, even from the quietest heights. Like Jin's voice. And when she performed "Don't Say You Love Me" in front of fans gathered from all over the world, there were tears, there was laughter, and there was an electrifying silence. Blue, pink, yellow, and white light illuminates the night sky beautifully. But behind those colors, there are emotions that are invisible and now sticking. Jimmy Fallon, a longtime BTS fan, has never hidden his admiration for the 7 members. But that night, or rather the next day on The Tonight Show, Jimmy said something changed everything. He didn't just praise Jin for his voice. He doesn't just refer to Jin as a global treasure. He didn't even just mention Jin as the most iconic Korean artist today. Jimmy says, "If I had to choose one solo singer who would represent the music of today's world, not America, not Korea, but the world, I would choose Jin." And it wasn't even a hard decision. The sentence exploded on social media. Jimmy Fallon is too impartial. What about Taylor Swift? Billie Eilish? Beyoncé? Fallon just making a list of America's top artists feels irrelevant. And on the other hand, ARMY, BTS fans, reacted with emotion, even editing a video of the moment with emotional background music and hashtags like #FallonLovesJin and #Echo on top of the world. But what exactly makes the sentence so controversial? And is that this is Jimmy Fallon's first time making a divisive choice. Behind-the-scenes footage also emerged. Some of The Tonight Show staff leaked that prior to the show, Fallon had a discussion with her producers about the possible backlash from her praise. One source said, Jimmy knew what he was saying would spark a debate. But he said, "I can't pretend to be neutral when I see someone really special." But can neutrality really be sacrificed for emotional honesty? Fallon's admiration looks real. Even when Jin comes to the studio just for a quick interview, Jimmy welcomes him with a warm hug and says, "New York feels small when Jin's here." The comments were met with laughter, but there was silence among some of the crew. They know that words are not light. In the world of showbiz, words have weight and can be a double-edged sword, and the sword is now scratching. Fans of other artists began to make caustic comments. Why Jin? What makes it more special than artists who have worked here for decades? Isn't this excessive favoritism? But when Jin was asked by a local reporter about Fallon's comments, he simply smiled calmly and replied, "I've never felt smaller or bigger than anyone. I'm just grateful." An answer that makes netizens even more divided. Some praised him for humility. There are also those who are cynical, considering that the genie is pretending to be humble. But one thing is clear. The genie does not want any of this. He just wanted the song to sound. He just wants Echo to be an echo of his feelings, of loss, hope, unspoken love, and new beginnings. However, how could that echo be a storm that swallowed up so many other people's emotions? That night, under the sky of the Empire State Building, Jin stood alone. Not as part of BTS, not as part of a major label, but as himself. And at the same time, Jimmy Fallon's spotlight was on the world. Is a TV broadcaster supposed to express that much support to one artist? Is the world ready to accept the fact that Korean artists can be at the top of the world's spotlight without compromise? Or is this another form of collective jealousy? What really happened between Jin and Fallon that night? Is it just about compliments? Or is there a personal connection that is not known to the public? Some fans suspect that Jimmy Fallon has actually had a deeper friendly relationship with Jin since Jin last appeared on The Tonight Show years earlier. Some even speculated that Fallon was involved in Echo's creative process, though there was no confirmation, but of course, his comments are no ordinary comments. And now, the spotlight is not just on Jin, but on anyone who dares to declare that the entertainment world can no longer be measured solely by American popularity. Will Fallon's comments pave the way for more equal global recognition for Asian artists? Or is it creating new resistance? Jin himself, when interviewed by a local television station a few hours after the lighting show, said only one memorable thing. If a compliment causes division, perhaps the world is not ready to love without limits. But I'll still sing. And with that, Jin's voice continued to echo. Among the light, among the critics, among the compliments, an echo that will not be easily extinguished. But does it all stop there? Will the storm subside as the Empire State Building lights go out that night? Apparently not. Fallon's comments sparked discussion in spaces that hadn't even mentioned Jin's name before. Another talk show started discussing it. Entertainment commentators, music critics, and even pop culture analysts spoke up. The most surprising? Some senior musicians in the American industry satirized Fallon's statement indirectly, as if questioning the objectivity and taste of the famous host. A tweet from America's top female singer, who is not named here due to sensitivity, reads, "I love Fallon, but I don't think we need to measure one artist by negating the other. We are all fighting hard for a place in this industry." Despite not mentioning Jin's name directly, thousands of netizens flooded his comment column with speculation. This is satire for Jin, huh? Jealous? Can't stand seeing Korean guys get the global spotlight. Meanwhile, Jin himself still did not give any additional comments. He disappeared from social media after a spectacular night at the Empire State Building. No Weverse uploads. There is no Instagram story. No tweets. Just silence. But the silence was louder than words, and it is precisely that silence that makes many people even more curious. What does the genie really feel? Some fans felt that Jin was actually overwhelmed by Fallon's excessive praise. Jin is a low-key type. He definitely doesn't feel comfortable being the topic of comparison with other artists, said an ARMY member who was present at the mini-concert location. We know he wants to convey a message with his songs, not be the subject of gossip or controversy. But the world always disputes the most sincere thing. And sure enough, the song "Don't Say You Love Me" that evening was not just a chant. It was like a request, a cry, even an ultimatum. The song carries an aura of deep pain. The word love does not come as a consolation, but as a hanging shadow, implying that love that is not meant to be sincere can hurt more than anything. So what exactly did the Echo album contain that made the whole world talk about it? Echo, Jin's second solo album, dives into themes of hope, longing, loss, and, surprisingly, self-doubt. Unlike the previous album, which was full of energy and optimism, Echo actually voiced a silent, but deep inner voice. In his songs, there are lyrics such as, "I waited for your echo, but silence answered louder. Even stars envy the quiet in your eyes. Don't say you love me, if your love fades with the light." Is this the heart of the Jin during his hiatus? Is this an emotional cut from his hard times during the draft, or maybe a personal story he never opened to the public? Jimmy Fallon, in an interview on a SiriusXM radio show a few days after his appearance with Jin, called, "I'm not just impressed by Jin's voice. I feel like he was singing to himself, and we just happened to hear it." That's honest, and it's rare that I've seen an artist perform like that without a barrier. But the comments only add fuel to the fire. Some cultural observers consider that such praise constitutes a dangerous narrative of absolute idolatry. When a public figure the size of Fallon goes all out adoring one artist, let alone for Mo. But not even 24 hours since Jin's emotional appearance at the Empire State Building, a rumor began to creep in slowly, like a dark whisper behind a glittering stage. Some sources say there was tension between the major American labels and Fallon's management, even HYB herself. It is mentioned that Jin's attendance at The Tonight Show is not purely scheduled as officially announced. Behind it all, there was a long tug-of-war for weeks. There was even allegedly soft diplomatic pressure from South Korea, given that Jin is a global cultural ambassador and had just returned from his military duty, which drew international sympathy. Are you ready to hear more surprises? An insider from the entertainment industry revealed that Fallon was given a subtle warning to reduce his praise of Jin. But the opposite happened. Fallon redoubled her gestures in front of the camera. Proud look, admiring body language, repeated lines praising Jin not just as an artist, but as an icon of world pop civilization. Did Fallon just follow his heart? Or is this a form of defense against artists outside of Asia who are often underestimated in the American media? But when an action becomes too obvious and overt, the world begins to ask, is this a sincere compliment or an unjustified form of partiality? This is where it all starts to get personal. The comments started touching not just Jin, but the entire BTS. Is he the most beloved because the most tame in the Western entertainment system? Where is Jimin? Why wasn't he on the show? Why are V or Jungkook given the same spotlight? Questions like this are no longer just speculation. It starts to scratch, especially when footage emerged from a fan's camera recording Jin stepping off stage after his performance at the Empire State Building. There, Jin is seen wiping his eyes with the back of his hand. Some speculated he was crying. Some insist it's just because of the night breeze. But one sentence caught in her quiet whisper changed everything. I hope they understand what I mean. What does that mean? Who are they that he hopes to understand? Fans? A groupie? HYB? The world, surprise after surprise, does not stop. The next morning, the Empire State Building's official Twitter account uploaded a photo of Jin with the caption, "He brought love, hope, and a new beginning. We heard your echo, Jin." Thousands of comments flooded the post. The majority are full of love, emotion, and gratitude. But there are also those who question, why only Jin? Why not the entire BTS? Comments like these imply one flavor, jealousy. Jealousy doesn't just come from outside. An anonymous report from the Korean Entertainment Community Forum claims that some BTS members felt they were not informed in advance about Jin's plans to appear on The Tonight Show and the lighting ceremony at the Empire State Building. It was even mentioned that there was an emotional conversation between Jin and one of the members, though not who, that took place via video call just hours before her performance. Hyung, why didn't you tell me earlier? It's not about promotion, it's about confession. I don't want you to get involved in this drama. That sentence made the entire army pause. Jin realized something that was not said directly. That Fallon's praise, however big it may be, can turn into a dividing wall. Not only between artists in the international entertainment world, but also between members who have shared more than a decade together. But is Jin wrong for shining alone? Or is it the world that is not ready to see an Asian star standing without a shadow? 1 week after her performance, Jin finally posted a simple photo on Weverse. A selfie against the backdrop of the twilight sky of New York. No captions, no hashtags. But thousands of fans agreed. Jin's expression in the photo is not just a smile. That's a thoughtful face. The face of a person who has just gone through a storm of emotions. And just on that very day, A leaked email from a major music agency in America to one of the online entertainment outlets sparked a new wave of controversy. The email mentioned, "We are disappointed with the editorial direction Fallon chose last week. Does not reflect the balance of exposure to our artists."